And next we have The Dimensional Wars-Dravincia, written by Blake Severson. It is 474 pages, rather, $4.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. Here's the author's description. A god is stirring up trouble, and Arthur happens to be the one caught up in the action. After an unfortunate encounter, Arthur is given a second chance in a new world. To his surprise, this new world has mechanics that remind him of role-playing games on Earth. He has been given a simple directive from the goddess to help the people of the world and spread her name. He quickly discovers this will not be an easy task. The world has been overrun with bandits who work for the lords of the land and cause all the denizens to live in abject ruin. Can Arthur tame Dravincia and push back against those forces, or he is destined to fail spectacularly and have to hope for another try? So there we go. This story is definitely a mixed bag. I liked some aspects of it, but overall it just didn't work for me. And I'll go into reasons why. But first, I'm talking about things I actually liked. Eventually in the storyline, this is a minor spoiler. The main character gets earth magic, and that particular progression path and the development of the magic system and the way the main character used that particular magic system, the magic ability, was actually really well done. It was nicely thought out. I love some of the abilities that were there. And I actually like the fact that also the author applied that magical system to farming and made it a part of like the town building, the town building aspect of the storyline. I thought that was like a nice little touch there and something I've been seeing very often. I also like the town building that does happen in the story. The game mechanics on the whole are fairly normal. You get leveling, skill systems, stuff I've seen other places before. So there's nothing really new there in that location. The story is definitely number heavy, or numbers, like it's definitely crunchy. So if you like that crunchy LitRPG, that's going to be a positive aspect for you here. I will say for me, there are definitely some places where there are just too many notifications, too many numbers, all in one location. Sometimes I think the longest was 10 pages just full of tables and notifications all in one section. And that's kind of, I feel like that's probably not necessary. There's an explanation in the story, so it's not just for no reason. But again, it's kind of like probably a little bit too much. And on regular occasions, there are just like groupings of tables that just fill up more than half of a page at a time. And this is also complained some other reviews for the novel in that they felt it was a little too many notifications, and they feel like it was a little bit fillery. I don't believe that's to be the case, but even I was like, oh, okay, this is probably a lot of information I don't need to see again for 10 pages long. So, small little note there. However, those are the aspects I enjoyed about the story. There are other huge issues for me, at least. One, never connected with the characters. The main character is not a terrible person. It's just, I didn't care about him. Didn't really care about him or any of the other characters. They weren't bad characters. I just didn't engage with them. Also, action in the story was written, it's okay. It's not like an amazing action story. And the fight scenes are just kind of okay. Not bad, not amazing, just okay. The beginning of the story has some technical writing issues, and part of me seeing this is probably the fact that I'm editing a book currently, so my brain is kind of in editor mode. But I noticed a lot of mixed tenses, issues with identifying who's being spoken of in the third person, because the story is written in third person, technically past tense, I think, but it often very much goes into third person present tense sometimes, which is an issue. And I have some examples in the actual review of some examples of some of the dialogue issues and some of the tense issues. So if you want to read that, feel free to do so. But needless to say, there are just technical writing issues and as the story goes on, that becomes less so, but the beginning is the part that people seem to be dropping because they can't get through some of it. Other issues for me, though, is some of the particular dialogue choices. The way the main character speaks felt really stilted. And so for me, it's hard to engage with the characters when I felt like their speech was intentionally role player-ish. And if you've ever played an MMO on a role-playing server, you kind of know what I mean, and that people intentionally speak a little more archaic to create flair, to create to get into their character. And that's kind of what I felt like the main character was doing on this world, even though there's really no need to. And so it's just hard for me to connect with the character because of that. Worst for me, though, this is a big personal peeve, though. The storyline was really forced. And what I mean by that is that things happen in the plot line to solve conflicts and to solve issues that weren't initiated or done by the main character, or like think events would occur. There's like, oh, that is no foundation in the story whatsoever. There are no mechanics for that. There's no like setup for this whatsoever. And it just magically solves a problem. It's very one wavy, and plot lines are forced in certain directions just because that's what needs to happen sometimes. And for me, it's one of those things that really bugs me, because I feel like I'm being forced in a direction where the character isn't really going to make these choices, but he's forced to do it because of some perceived plotline. The main character rarely got powers, items, and abilities he didn't earn. They were kind of just given to him. Even the end of the story is resolved not by the main character using hard-won and practiced magic or good tactics, and he definitely trains to do this in the story, which is why it's particularly frustrating. Instead, the final resolution happens because the main character uses a never before seen power that has no connection with his earth magic or any other part of the story, and is kind of explained away in the epilogue as like, oh, that thing you just saw, here's the explanation of why it works, but that's how we resolve the story. So all that stuff really bugged me. Overall, again, other people like this story, and that's totally cool. We can like different things, but for me, I just couldn't. Some parts again were smart and well thought out, but I had other issues that kind of ruined my enjoyment of the story, and that's kind of me. So for me, Dimensional Wars-Dravincia gets a score of 6 out of 10.